All right, guys, what you're going to do today is work independently on scaling a letter. So you should see your assignment posted. There's a direction sheet, and then you're going to find the letter of your first name. And we're going to work on scaling that up and scaling that down. So what I'm going to do here, the scale factor I'm going to use for the first one is different than what you're going to do, but you're going to go about it the same way. So directions, you will scale the first letter of your name using the graph paper that you picked up during orientation. If you no longer have any graph paper, there is a piece that is uploaded underneath here. So you may also use that. But I want you to do this on paper with a pencil and a straight edge. Okay. Our first step, you're going to have your letter and we're going to scale it up. Your scale factor says 5/2. I'm going to show you how to do this with a scale factor of 3/2. But the first step is always going to be to count your original shape. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and count our original shape. So I'm going to pick the letter C. So I want to know all the lengths of my letter. So I'm going to go through and label the side lengths that are shown. Okay. Once you have all of your side lengths shown, we're going to read through step one. First, we're going to scale our letter using a scale factor of 3/2. And again, I changed that for my instructional video. Your scale factor says 5/2. Okay, but if my scale factor is 3/2, we can convert that into a decimal to make it easier to use. 3/2, if we do 3 divided by 2, we get that our scale factor is really just 1.5. So I'm going to take my original picture, which I did over here. So my original letter C, I'm going to multiply everything by 1.5. So all of these side lengths. I'm going to start at the top here, and I'm just going to work my way around, drawing as I go. Okay, so I'm going to scale it up using 1/2. So my side length of 3, I'm going to show my work over here. I'm going to multiply 3 times 5.5. Use your calculator, that gives me 4.5. So then I'm going to go ahead and draw that. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4.5. And then I'm going to go the same thing all the way around. So now I'm measuring 2 times 1.5. That gives me 3. So then I'm going to go straight through 3. And then I'm going to measure this 4. 4 times 1.5 is equal to 6. So I'm going to scale that up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have another side length of 2. I don't have to redo that work. I already know that 2 scaled up gives me 3. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And then I already have my work for scaling 3 up. I know that's 4.5. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. Scale up my next side length, which is 1. So this is where it's going to get a little bit more difficult because we're working in halves. 1 times 1.5 is 1.5. So here's 1/2, 1, and then 1.5. Scale up 1 again. Again, I don't have to redo that work. So I'm going to draw, here's 1/2, and then 1. I have 2 here. I know 2 scales up to 3, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I have another 1 unit. Again, I'm not redoing all of my work because I did them over here. That's why I'm showing my work so that I can keep seeing what I'm working on. So 1 times 1.5. Here's 1.5. Same thing over here. So now I have 1/2 and then 1. 4. I already also did that. When I scale up 4, I get 6. So I'm going to count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Scale up 1 to 1.5, 1.5. And all my numbers are the same, so the more I work in my shape, the easier it's going to be. Scale my 2 up, I get 1, 2, 3. And then I have 1, so I'm going to go 1.5. And then I can just connect my shape. I know it's going to end there. Okay, so there is my scaled image using a scale factor of 1.5. So I took care of step number 1. Now I'm going to go ahead and work on the second step. The second step says next you'll scale my letter using a scale factor of 1/2. So that means I'm going to take all of my numbers and cut them in 1/2. So number 2, my scale factor is equal to 1/2, which is just the same thing as 0.5. So from my original shape, I'm going to cut all of my side lengths in 1/2. So I'm going to start in the same spot. My 3, 1/2 of 3 is 1.5. So some of this you may have to work to really just estimate, but I have 1 and then 1/2. 1/2 of 2 is 1. So I have 1/2 and then 1/2. 1/2 of 4 is 2. So I'm going to go 1 block, 2 block. 1/2 of 2 is 1. So here, this little corner piece is 1/2. Go halfway through again. 1/2 of 3 is 1.5. So I have 1/2 and then 1. 1/2 of 1 is 1/2. 1/2 of 1 again is 1/2. 1/2 of 2 is 1, so I'm going to go 1/2 and 1/2. 1/2 of 1 here, 1/2, and then 1/2 up. So now I'm at my 4, so I'm going to go up 1, 2, and then 1. Just cutting my whole shape in 1/2. Pay attention to when I have those 1/2 lines. Okay. So there is my shape scaled by a scale letter of 1/2. And again, all I did was take all of those original numbers and cut them in 1/2. So I didn't write my work here, but if I wanted to, I did 1/2 of 2, which was 1, 1/2 of 4, which was 2, and then I went all the way down around the whole shape. Okay, so that took care of step 2. And then last, it says decorate your paper by writing the rest of your name. So then you would just want to go ahead and fill in your paper, decorating however you want. Write in the rest of your name. If you want to use decorative letters, if you have some colored pencils or some markers, okay, this is going to be graded on the neatness that you're using, accuracy of your scale factor, and accuracy of your scaled copies. Okay, so you want to make sure you have all of that included. It's nice and neat. This is what you are working on during this time and then during your independent class during either 9th or 10th period, depending on when you have me. Okay, if you have questions, I will be available in your Google Meet.